So this is my Diamondback sinker. I got this in September, and I got this to replace my Helga that got stolen. And this was a 27.5 plus bike, and it came with 2.8 tires, but I have since scaled this down. I was actually running more 2.8s, but I'm running the eliminator grids, and these are a 2.6 now. Before that, I got some Diamondback Butchers in the case. It was the black diamond casing, and that was way too overkill for me. The 2.8s were nice, but the black diamond casing was just way too much tire for me. It was way too slow. I did not like it, but I also wanted to see how this 2.6 and a 27.5 inch would roll. As you guys know, my Helga was a 29 plus when I had converted it over, so it's gonna be a little bit different from this with the 27.5. And also, this is, I can't really see, but this is a size extra large frame, which is a lot bigger than what the Helga was, especially in reach. Like, the geometry is just more aggressive. But this is also, this is the thing about this bike. This bike is both too big and too small for me. I say too small or too big because this is, I do not know how long this dropper post is. I tried to look it up and I could not find it, but that is slammed all the way in there. And I have like a slightly more lower profile saddle than what I originally came with the bike, and it still feels a little bit too long in the extensions. These are 170mm cranks, which is what I use on all of my bikes, and it just feels like my legs are extending too much, and I really feel it in my left leg since I kind of messed it up. But the other thing about it is, if I were to get the smaller size, the stack height would go down, and it would be a little bit lower than what I would want to have on this. And I didn't really, this is a riser bar sort of, and I didn't want to go any lower than this. So that's kind of, this entire bike was just one huge trade-off. But alright, so now this is my stunner bike. This is the Kona Kahuna DL frame set, and I pretty much built this up over the winter with the idea that I wanted to replace my giant tough road because I liked being able to run 29-inch wheels, but I did not like the lack of toe overlap. I pretty much didn't like the toe overlap that I had. So with this, as you can see, with the 29 wheels with my wide catalyst pedals, which by the way, I still love these pedals. These are pretty much my go-to pedal for this bike. Like, this is my go-to bike, so now I have all my go-to components on it. But the thing that I like about this is that it's pretty much an old school hardtail, which is going back in time for me because one of the first couple of bikes that I had when I started getting into cycling more for recreation was a 29-inch hardtail Schwinn that was actually a pretty decent bike, but I just did not know how to take care of it, and it's gone now. So, well, it's been gone for a long time, but yeah, you get the idea. So I'm rambling again. So what are the standout points on this? First off, the suspension fork. I did not have this set up with a suspension fork. First off, I had it set up with a rigid fork, but over time I was like, you know what, I kind of like running a suspension fork, so I tried to find one that worked with quick release, and I found this Manitou Machete. And going back to my Helga, that had a Manitou fork on it. I love this reverse arch on it, so Yeah, also the red and black color scheme just goes with everything. Another callback to one of my bikes that I had in the past. A lot of my bikes currently, especially this bike in particular, is a callback to like a lot of the bikes that I had coming up in these past few years. Talking about suspension, this is a suspension seat post. This is PNW Coast dropper suspension, and it works really well. And I got it paired with this Transx Hot Lap lever, and I can activate it on the fly next to my Sensa SRX Pro levers. This is a dummy lever, and this is the actual shift lever that works with the 1x11 setup that I got going on. So that's a DRXT with my absolute black oval chainring. That's a 36 tooth. This is the other thing. I want it to be able to clear the 36 tooth chainring with the oval. So technically it's a 38 at its largest point. So in theory, I could run a 38 if I wanted to. I could probably run a 38 tooth oval chainring if I wanted to get some more top speed, which I might consider. But here in the back, we got an 11 to 46, 11 speed cassette, and this is actually really nice. And we got the SRX Pro. This derailleur does not have a clutch on it, as you can see. It just has a little chain tensioner, or a derailleur tensioner, and I have it set up to max. And the shifting in the max setting has been pretty much spot on. I haven't had really any issues with that. So this isn't really a review of the drivetrain or anything, but if you are considering a 1x11 setup and want to save some money, the SRX Pro is a pretty good setup for the price. Also, I'm running the TRP Spires that I've had for a while now, that have been on hiatus, and they've made a comeback. These stop really well paired with Jaguar compressionless housing. It's really responsive, so I have no problems with that. I have a 160mm rotor front and rear. These are going to get upgraded to 180 in the front, but those haven't come in yet. And also these wheels, they're a budget wheel set that I bought online. Again, I bought these for my Tough Road, but I again wanted to run 29ers on a bike with better toe overlap clearance, and better clearance overall, especially in the back. These are 29 by 2.35 inch tires. The ground controls in the grid and tan wall. By the way, let me know what you think of that green badge on there. It really clashes with the bike, but I was like, I want the tan wall, so I think I could deal with the random bits of green on it. So that's that. The last thing that I have to point out about this bike is the fact that I am running some very wide handlebars. So these are the PNW Coast handlebars to pair with the Coast dropper posts, and I'm running a 60mm stem, and these bars are 520 millimeters. So in the drops they go out to about 602, I believe, and I honestly feel like I have a good amount of control with this setup. And the good thing about this is if I really wanted to go wider, I could get the Curve Cycles Wilmer bars. I would get those in the 55 centimeter version, which the drops I think extend out to 700 or 70 centimeters. So I have some options. This is pretty much what made the drop bar mountain bike possible, is these wide bars. I just have way more control, and it works out really well. And again, I have the dropper post. Like, it's a drop bar mountain bike with a dropper post and front suspension. Like, this is way too tricked out, but Speaking of being tricked out, we're gonna see if it actually holds up on the trails. At some point I'm gonna be able to actually record me riding on the trails with this bike, but not today. I apologize again.